Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Paradari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Paradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srimad Bhagavatam Sukharivajapacharya Ashtodarashadashishamaradhyamaya Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnu Padma Parivajapacharya Ashtodarashadashishamaradhyamaya Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavarinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Seventh Canto, Science of God, Chapter 9. Prahlāda pacifies the Lord with prayers. Text 44. Prayena Deva Munayaha Swa Vimukti Kama Maunam Charanti Vijane Na Prarartha Nishta Naitan Vihaya Kripanan Vimumuksha Eko Nanyam Tvad Asya Sharanam Brahmato Nipashe Prayena Deva Munayo Svabhimukti Kama Maunam charanti vijanena parartanishta. Naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Prayena deva munayasa vimukti kama. Maunam charanti vajanena parartanishtaha. Naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Prayena deva munayasa vimukti kama. Maunam charanti vijanena parartanishtaha. Naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmate nupashye.
Prayena deva munayasva vimukti kama. Maunam charanti vijanena parartanishta. Naitam vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupasye.
Prayena deva munayasva vimukti kama. Maunam charanti vijanena parartanishtaha. Naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupashye.
Prayena
deva munayasva vimukti kama.
Maunam charanti vijanena parartanishta. Naitan vihaya kripanam vimuksha eko. Nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupasye.
Okay, word by word. Prayena, generally, in almost all cases. Deva, O my Lord. Munayaha, the great saintly persons. Swa, personal. Own. Vimukti kamaha, ambitious for liberation from this material world. Maunam, silently. Charanti, they wander in places like the Himalayan forest, where they have no touch with the activities of the materialists. Vijane, in solitary places. Na, not. Para-artanishtaha, interested in working for others by giving them the benefit of the Krishna consciousness movement. By enlightening them with Krishna consciousness. Na, not. Etan, these. Vihaya, leaving aside. Kripanan, fools and rascals. Engaged in materialistic activity who do not know the benefit of the human form of life. Vimukshe, I desire to be liberated and return to home, back to Godhead. Ekaha, alone. Na, not. Anyam, other. Twat, but for you. Asya, of this. Sharanam, shelter. Brahmataha, of the living entity rotating and wandering throughout the material universes. Anupashe, do I see? Translation. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My dear Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, mauna-vrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to your shelter, back to shelter at your lotus feet. Purport. This is the decision of the Vaishnava, the pure devotee of the Lord. For himself, he has no problems, even if he has to stay in the material world, because his only business is to remain in Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious person can go even to hell and still be happy. Therefore, Prahlāda Mahārāja said, Naivo dvijay paradarataya vaitaranya. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. The pure devotee is never unhappy in any condition of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Narayana para sarve nakutashana bibhite swarga pavarga narekeshvapi tulyarta darshanaha. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. For a devotee, being situated in the heavenly planets and being in the hellish planets are equal. For a devotee lives neither in heaven nor in hell, but with Krishna in the spiritual world. The secret of success for the devotee is not understood by the karmis and jnanis. Karmis therefore try to be happy by material adjustment, and jnanis want to be happy by becoming one with the Supreme. The devotee has no such interest. He is not interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or the forest. Rather, his interest is in the busiest part of the world, where he teaches people Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness movement was started for this purpose. We do not teach one to meditate in a secluded place just so that one may show that he has become very much advanced and may be proud of his so-called transcendental meditation, although he engages in all sorts of foolish materialistic activity. A Vaishnava like Prahlāda Mahārāja is not interested in such a bluff of spiritual advancement. Rather, he is interested in enlightening people in Krishna consciousness, because that is the only way for them to become happy. Prahlāda Mahārāja says clearly, Nānyam tvat asya sharanam brahmato nupashye. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. One wanders within the universe life after life, but by the grace of a devotee, a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can get the clue to Krishna consciousness and then not only become happy in this world, but also return home back to Godhead. That is the real target in life. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement are not at all interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or the forest, where one will only make a show of meditation, nor are they interested in opening many schools for yoga and meditation in the cities. Rather, every member of the Krishna consciousness movement is interested in going door to door to try to convince people about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as it is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement must be fully convinced that without Krishna one cannot be happy. Thus, the Krishna-conscious person avoids all kinds of pseudo-spiritualist, transcendentalist, meditators, monists, philosophers, and philanthropists. Om Jnana-timirandasya Kiranjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kridvachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurindari-taranam Vachakapadribhishcha Kripasindabhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. My dear Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, mauna-vrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. A disciple of Srila Prabhupada asked Srila Prabhupada if he was in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja, and Srila Prabhupada said, "Yes, I'm in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja," and he said, "I'm always trying to deliver these fools and rascals," as it was stated in yesterday's verse and today's verse. The materialists are described as fools and rascals. In yesterday's verse, Prahlāda Mahārāja says that at the end of the verse, he says, I'm simply concerned with love for them. So it is not that Prahlāda Mahārāja is concerned for any other reason. There could be a number of reasons, just as there are a number of reasons why people do philanthropic work, or a number of reasons people engage in many activities. Generally, when people engage in activities, not just one reason, there's many reasons. But Prahlāda Mahārāja is mentioning how he is concerned with love for them. So this was also Srila Prabhupada's mood, that he wasn't concerned out of disgust or out of pride or out of fear or whatever it may be. There weren't these different motives that Srila Prabhupada had, or financial, whatever it is. There's so many motives. But Srila Prabhupada was concerned out of love for people in general, understanding that they are part and parcel of Krishna. Mamai Vangsho, Jiva Loke, Jiva Buddha Sanat, they're all part and parcel of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada very clearly had that vision. And as it's being stated here, that there's other saintly persons. Prahlāda Mahārāja calls them saintly persons. There's other saintly persons that do not have any interest. They go off to the Himalayas or they go off to the different forests of the world and they escape the world. They have no interest in delivering others. So that's not Prahlāda Mahārāja's mood as he describes it in this verse, that his mood is he wants to stay within, not escape the world, but stay in the world and stay in the busiest parts of the world to give people Krishna consciousness, to help deliver people, deliver the message of Krishna consciousness to people. So if we're able to ourselves have this mood, that is the greatest fortune. That's the greatest thing we could, one of the greatest things we can achieve, to have this desire and mood. And to not have this, to not strive, to not, because in material existence, people, they actually hate the idea of striving for Krishna's pleasure or striving to sacrifice oneself or one's energy for the pleasure of God, for the pleasure of Krishna. And coming to Krishna consciousness, we hope that goes away, that disinterest or that dislike or that hatred to exert oneself for Krishna, Krishna's pleasure. There's a certain rebellious nature that the mind has in material existence, and the rebellious nature is, oh, I don't want to serve Krishna. I just want to do my own thing. As Prahlāda Mahārāja mentioned in the last purport, making elaborate plans to be happy in this world. So just because one comes to Krishna consciousness or one becomes a Hare Krishna, doesn't mean that that automatically goes away. That tendency to make elaborate plans to be happy in this world, or simple plans. And that not striving, that hating to exert energy for Krishna or Krishna consciousness, or that inertia or that laziness, or that is actually the worst enemy of the devotee. Sometimes it's described that the worst enemy is lust, or the greatest enemy is lust, which you could say there's many greatest enemies. But one thing is if one's struggling with that lust, one thing is that, okay, do we have the energy, do we have the strength, do we have the desire to fight against that, to push through those obstacles? And if we do, again, that's our great fortune. But if we don't, that's a greatest enemy, because we will never make it through. We have to have that desire to push through. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is describing his particular mood here. He's in his prayers to Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Lila, chapter 15, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offers prasadam. There's a description of the different devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They attended the Rath Yatra, and then they were going back to Bengal. But before they went back to West Bengal, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was meeting with them, and he was glorifying them for their different qualities, their different activities. He was glorifying Murari Gupta, and then he goes on to glorify Vasudeva Datta. And it says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started glorifying Vasudeva Datta as if he had 1,000 mouths. So he was enthusiastically glorifying Vasudeva Datta. And it says that Vasudeva Datta, he became embarrassed and shy. And then he submitted himself, touching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. And Vasudeva Datta, he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that, "My dear Lord, you incarnate just to deliver all conditioned souls. I now have one petition which I wish you would accept. My Lord, you are certainly able to do whatever you like, and you are indeed merciful. If you so desire, you can very easily do whatever you want. My Lord, my heart breaks to see the suffering of all the conditioned souls. Therefore, I request you to transfer the karma of their sinful lives upon my head." Sometimes people are devotees who accept the position as Diksha Guru, because there's an understanding that upon the time of initiation, the disciple, there's a transference of karma. There's a transference of karma that the Guru takes. And that's just for one person or two people, or maybe you initiate 100 people, or however many people you initiate. But here Vasudeva Datta, he was saying, let all the living entities in the whole universe, let all that karma come on my head. And again, sometimes devotees accepting that position of Diksha Guru, that may be one of their hesitations. What about the karma that I'm going to be accepting from people? He was ready to accept all the karma of everyone in the whole universe, all living entities, not just humans, but all living entities. And he says, "My dear Lord, let me suffer perpetually in a hellish condition." So he understands that if I accept all of these karmic reactions, this is Madhya Lila, chapter 15, text 163, that if I accept all of these reactions of all these living entities, I'm going to suffer. He wasn't saying, "Oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me accept all of these reactions and then not suffer for it." But he was willing to suffer. Accepting all the sinful reactions of all living entities, please finish their diseased material life. You have a case of Srila Prabhupada in South India. Prabhupada spent some time down there preaching in South India, established some temples there, or a temple there at least, in Hyderabad. But Prabhupada met with many South Indian Brahmins, and these South Indian Brahmins were shocked in relation to how Srila Prabhupada presented himself, or how he was preaching throughout the world as a world of charya. One of the things that they brought up to him at the time was how Srila Prabhupada allowed his murti to be made and put in the different temples throughout the world. And this Pujari the South Indian Brahmin was saying, this is generally not done. This is something that happens after the disappearance of the spiritual master. Because you put your murti in all of these temples and you get so many people, hundreds of people, offering obeisances and touching your feet, form of the murti, you get all these reactions, these sinful reactions, karmic reactions. And then Srila Prabhupada, he said, "Oh, do you not understand why I have come to this place? That's what I've come for, to accept this." So then the South Indian Brahmin, he was just shocked. His mind had a hard time processing that. And then he he circumambulated Srila Prabhupada, he offered his obeisance, and then he left out of respect. So, and here we see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vasudeva Dutt, his particular example. I mean, it's definitely unique in all of, if you want to say, religious history. But it's also unique within Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. You don't see anyone else with exactly the same demonstration of compassion. And Srila Prabhupada brings up in the purport, which wouldn't be a good, well, it wouldn't be a good purport to read at a, what do they call it, interfaith convention. But he makes it in the purport, and it's not to disrespect, it's not to disregard, it's just, he's just stating. He says that if you compare Vasudeva Dutt and Haridas Thakur to be many millions of times more advanced even when compared with Lord Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ relieved only his followers from all sinful reactions, but Vasudeva Dutt is here prepared to accept the sins of everyone in the universe. So he was ready to accept that. And then, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Vasudeva Dutt's statement, his heart became very soft. Tears flowed from his eyes, and he began to tremble. In a faltering voice, he spoke as follows. Accepting Vasudeva Dutt as a great devotee, the Lord said, "Such a statement is not at all astonishing, because you are the incarnation of Prahlāda Mahārāja. It appears that Lord Krishna has bestowed complete mercy upon you. There is no doubt about it." And then he explains that whatever a pure devotee wants from his master, Lord Krishna doubtlessly grants, because he has no duty other than to fulfill the desire of his devotee. And it says that that he fulfilled that desire. And he didn't have to suffer. Yes, that's an important point. He said that I will fulfill that desire, and he did fulfill the desire. And simultaneously, you will not have to suffer. So yeah, it's a wonderful section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's just a few pages, the pastime. Just a few pages, really. Or maybe, say 10 pages. It's very powerful to meditate on. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is displaying this great compassion, this mood, and Vasudeva Dutt later in Chaitanya Charitamrita, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this is no astonishment because you are the incarnation of Prahlāda Mahārāja. So there's a connection there. And then Srila Prabhupada, who asked him, was Harikesh. He asked him, "Are you in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja?" And Prabhupada said, yes, he is. So there's a connection there as well. So, of course, to dream of becoming like Vasudeva Dutt or Prahlāda Mahārāja or Srila Prabhupada, these are the most celebrated, or the most advanced Vaishnavas throughout time. But still, we are followers of them, and this is our tradition. And as Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, that this is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. It was started for this purpose, specifically to establish temples, centers, places where people could gather and hear about Krishna in the busiest parts of the world. And for members of the movement, Srila Prabhupada says they're not interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or opening many schools for yoga and meditation in the cities, but they are interested going door to door to try to convince people about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, as it is. in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. And then Srila Prabhupada says that the members of the Krishna conscious movement must be fully convinced that without Krishna one cannot be happy. So if one is, so Srila Prabhupada said, okay, this is the purpose, and then he's saying the members should be convinced, fully convinced that without Krishna one cannot be happy. In other words, if one is fully convinced that without Krishna one cannot be happy, then this will fuel their preaching, because they'll think, hey, there's a bunch of people suffering, and I'm fully convinced, and I realize that without Krishna they cannot be happy. So let me try to help them, as a Vaishnava wants to try to help people as much as possible. So yes, we could try in our own little way to of course, Srila Prabhupada said, okay, well, my diseases, I do not think small, I think big. But in our own little way, in the sense of, in comparison to Vasudeva, Datta, Prahlāda Mahārāja, Srila Prabhupada, but in our own way, we need to try to follow in their instructions. We need to follow in their footsteps and try to help as far as possible. Okay, does anybody have any? Yes, Bhajanaran Swami.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, you know, being convinced. Well, I'm convinced that you're all going to hell. I'm convinced that you're all, you know. This is the basis, the root of religious fanaticism, this arrogance, this condescending. You know, it's caused people to be burned at the stake in the Spanish Inquisition, and you know, it's caused wars around the world, that you're so convinced that what you think, and you impose all this on others. I'm just shocked by the profound arrogance of this.
All right. Yes, there has been a lot of fanaticism in the name of religion. We don't say that it is coming from a good place, the fanaticism and the war and the death and the different terrible things that have happened throughout history and that are happening now, which will eventually become history. So, yeah. We say that these people are fanatical people who have the wrong idea, that are not representing God properly. But if one is interested in helping others, and any good person is, then to be convinced that God consciousness or Krishna consciousness can help others, at least that's our conviction, and we could say, okay, well, do you have a better one? You could give us a better option. But as far as our investigation and as far as our experience has gone, this is what we have accepted as the best option to solve the problems of the world individually, collectively. And based on that experience, based on that investigation, and based on that conviction, we try to give it to others. And if people aren't interested, that's fine. We're not going to burn. We're not going to do anything violent or if we're not in it. We tried to give them Krishna consciousness as far as possible and give them the opportunity. And if they don't want it, then we just move on. And all of this other stuff, violence and this and that, we would say, yes, this is fanaticism and this is misrepresenting God. So, Yeah. Hope that.
Yeah. I'm pacified.
Of course, one time Srila Prabhupada, he was walking in Juhu Beach, and he had a bunch of his disciples there. Prabhupada would walk with his disciples, morning walk, and then Giraj Das Brahmachari was there, and a number of devotees were there. And Prabhupada said, yes, when we take over the government, I mean, Prabhupada's just in a joking mood, and just and you hear statements like this in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and so on. But he said, yeah, when we took over the government, we'll go to the government leaders and we say that if you do not accept Krishna consciousness, we'll kill you. And then Srila Prabhupada started laughing. He was joking. And all the devotees started laughing. Everyone besides Giraj Das Brahmachari. And then Prabhupada, he picked up on that. And he went up and said, oh, so what do you think, Giraj? And then at the time he was trying to muster up some enthusiasm, even though he was having a hard time doing that. He said, yes, Prabhupada, we'll do that. And then Prabhupada said, just see, our Giraj, he's nonviolent. So, but yes, we are nonviolent. We're a nonviolent movement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is a nonviolent movement. Yes. Okay, Govardhan.
Hare Krishna. In the purport, you mentioned going door to door.
Yes.
I remember when I first started coming to the temple and I was doing some service, Bhakti Jamal and I, we were at National City. And we're going door to door. And we were going to these apartments.
You got Passion Valley. You got El Cajon.
Nasty City.
Nasty City. Okay, you got all these nice terms for the cities.
So, I was doing...
Yuma and humans.
Humans, yeah.
Get paradise.
Yeah. Burned paradise.
So I was doing my own thing. And Jamal, after 30 minutes or so, we met up with each other. And I said, how was your, door to door? And he said, it was bad. And I said, what happened? The first apartment that he knocked on, it was a young guy. He was on the computer, and he was so into the video game, Mm-hmm. He told Jamal, he said, don't say anything, I'm gonna die, So he made him wait for like 5-10 minutes. And then after the game, he started yelling at Jamal, what do you want? You disturb me, like that. And then so Jamal was like, hi, we're just trying to share some books, And the guy, I don't want any, get out of here. So, yeah, going door to door, it was a nice experience that I had.
In National City, yeah. With Jamal.
There was this one apartment, the grandma, she didn't speak any English. But there was a grandson, he was translating what I was telling her. And she was very moved by it. She
Spanish?
Said, yeah. And she said, and she said, not a lot of young people dedicate their lives going out and try to spread God's word. And so she gave a nice donation, and she took a few Spanish books.
Nice. Yeah, I remember we were distributing books door to door and El Cajon box. And anyways, went to I knocked on one door, and a lady answered, and she said that I presented a book to her. I think it was Science of Self-Realization, which for a Christian, this particular picture, it's not appealing to a Christian's mind, this form of Vishnu. But anyway, so I was trying to distribute the book to her, and she says, you know what, I don't know why I'm taking this book, but because I'm a Christian, I generally wouldn't take something like this, but I'll take it from you, and she gave a donation. It's nice. We were also out there, and we approached knocked on the door. There's a family there, and a number of people out there were I don't know what the word you want to say. They were happy or grateful. Yeah, they said, "Oh, we're very happy that you came all the way out here, and you live all the way out in Pacific Beach. It's 30 minutes. We're very happy you came out here and give a donation and stuff. So, any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna?
Yes, sir. Please ask.
Yes, Bhagavan Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind. Prabhu, correct me if I am wrong, but it seems to me that...
I'll let Dravida Prabhu correct you if you're wrong.
Sorry?
I'll let Dravida Prabhu correct you if you're wrong. Yes, please.
Oh, of course. The corrections of the Prabhu are most welcome. So it seems to me that the translation deals with the difference between being selfish and being selfless.
Yes, that's part of it.
Yes, and how can you help others if you're not selfless enough? Characteristically, selfish people, they couldn't care less about the others.
Yes.
So, based on all of this, my question is, how far should we devotees go in terms of being selfless in such a way that we wouldn't be there harming our spiritual advancement?
All right. Harming our spiritual advancement. Sure.
Well, Prabhupada never said that we have to completely imitate the attitude of Vasudeva Datta and welcome everyone's sinful reactions. But there's an element of that, as you pointed out, Balaram, that for those who take on the sannyas and eventually become spiritual masters, and it's understood that you're going to it's going to be austere, because your disciples can, even if, just the idea of taking the disciples and being responsible for them, and then they have trouble and then you have to deal with that, and it's a big headache. Prabhupada had that. So the Prabhupada expected us, at one point he said you should all become spiritual masters, all the disciples, that's very famous. But even if we're not initiating spiritual masters, we're meant to be representatives of Prabhupada, representatives of Krishna, and approaching people out of the same mood, the same desire to help them. I was just reading, and I'm just finished on the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The very last verse, Prabhupada says, this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Yat karma kridam mat paramo, you can read it there. And then he talks about how, and he mentions Prahlāda and Haridas, how they sacrificed in order to give people Krishna consciousness to relieve their suffering. So that kind of mood, that kind of attitude, is central to being a Vaishnava, and especially in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada did that, Bhaktisiddhanta did that, all of our acharyas have made great sacrifices, Bhaktivinoda, in order to help people, relieve them from the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, and illusion like that. So that's meant to be, we're meant to be ready to sacrifice our own comfort for that. And after all, what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Nacha tasma manusesha kastyame kriya kritama. There's no one more dear to me who teaches this science of Bhagavad Gita, in other words, spreads the Krishna consciousness, feeling compassion and mercy for the people at large. So Prabhupada never asked us to embrace this mood, which is unique. Vasudeva Datta, it's just inconceivable, as Balaram pointed out. Not even just the human beings who are suffering, but all living entities who have karma. But it just illustrates how incredible were the associates of Lord Chaitanya, what he was doing. And as Lord Chaitanya was quick to point out, by your desire that Krishna will intervene, you don't have to suffer all of that, but the fact that he was willing to do that is it. So these are great examples that we can worship and try to get somewhat of that quality, that basic quality of the standard sadhu, to become sadhus, to tikshiva karunika, to be compassionate and tolerant, which is realized in the effort to taking difficult tasks in order to spread Krishna consciousness and help people relieve them from their misery and attain full happiness. So that's what I would answer to that.
All right, Vijay Krishna, are you satisfied?
Beyond satisfied. Such a again, what as to be expected, such a beautiful and most clarifying answer to my question, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
What time is it over there?
Here we have now in the Azores Archipelago 3:38 p.m.
Okay. Did you distribute books today?
Not today, but
Okay.
yesterday I did it, and I'm going out after the class.
Okay, great, wonderful. What city are you in?
Ponta Delgada.
Porto Delgado.
São Miguel Island. Ponta Delgada is the city where the government is placed, and it is the capital of the whole archipelago, the 9 islands together.
Nice. All right.
What's the nearest ISKCON temple?
What's the nearest ISKCON temple to you?
There's no ISKCON temple here.
What's the nearest one, though, to you?
Flying more or less 2 hours to the continental part of Portugal, Lisbon, the capital of Portugal.
Lisbon, Portugal. 2-hour flight. All right, we'll have a wonderful time on book distribution. All right, Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Balaram Prabhu. Thank you very much for most kind.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.